over the last maybe two out of the last three games, Trevor hasn't really gotten touched very much. What do you attribute that to, and how would you say the offensive line's chemistry has grown over the last, 7 games of the season?
Yeah, well, I think it's a work in progress for sure, and I think every offensive line is going to say that throughout the league as the season progresses, and every team is right. Um, I think when we're all on the same page, we're all seeing the same thing, it helps. And then um, besides that, it's also schematics help a ton too, getting the ball out of his hands or helping out with play actions. So there's a lot of factors that play into it that I think are giving us an opportunity to keep Trevor at least somewhat under duress, like not as much under duress.
And what have you seen from Walker Little? I know you haven't played with him a ton in terms of the games, but just what have you seen from him since you got here to now, and then maybe talk about his performance just this past week.
Yeah, I really like the way Walker attacks the week as a professional. And I think when we found out that Cam was going down, uh, that series that, Walker had to come in, just his poise and the way he carried himself was pretty impressive. And I thought that resonated with the rest of the guys when you see a guy come in that has confidence in himself and as well as a game plan and working with each other. Like that's one less thing you have to worry about. And he's a smart football player. He's tough, and I thought he played very, very well and helped us kind of progress as the game went on.
Appreciate it.
John Shipley, followed by JP.
Mitch, thanks for doing this. Just, what kind of feeling does it give, offensive line in general, when quarterback is kind of in one of those spans that Trevor's in right now, where it just seems like every play call, there's kind of something going on. Just what kind of confidence does that give the offense?
Well, I think more than anything, what helps an offense gain confidence or helps the team in general is being able to kind of keep time of possession in your corner, right? Like it's matriculating the ball down the field. Of course, you want big shots, and those are huge. You want to score points however you can, John, right? Like so, to kind of get in that rhythm, stay ahead of the chains, is the verbiage you use, right? And then, yeah, I think Trevor's playing pretty inspired football right now, and it's a quarterback-driven league, right? And whether he's handing the ball off, making checks, or putting it down the field, like if you have a guy who's as poised and confident as Trevor can be in all the right ways, it helps everyone along, dude.
And then 18, I think it was, straight runs on Sunday. Even it seemed like when New England knew a run was coming, you guys were still finding some success. What does that do, just for an offensive line psyche when the coach is more or less like, we're just gonna run them down their throats?
Yeah, I mean, there's something to when the coaches and the staff put the game plan in your hands, right? And that's not something you go into the game saying we're going to run so many runs in a row, right? Like I think it's a testament to them seeing how the game was playing out, making game plan adjustments, and then I think Tank, he was being decisive, and that's huge. And when you're a decisive runner, and sometimes it's muggy in there, it's mucky in there, and we're just as long as you put hat on a hat, and you have a guy like Tank or whoever, Dearness or Travis, those guys make your life a lot easier. So, a long-winded way of answering your question was it felt very good, and not every game is going to play out that way, but when it does, you wake up a little sore in the morning, but you're happy for it.
What was that the most runs you've had called in a row, at least in an NFL game?
Had to be. I mean, that's a remarkable amount. You don't realize how tired you are until you get on the sideline, and people are offering you oxygen, and it was a very unique experience, and we were very appreciative of it.
Mitch.
These will be our last two, JP followed by Mark.
Excuse me. Hey, Mitch, just looking back a little bit to after that Bears game and then the week coming out of that at the Grove. I mean, how difficult was that week for the team coming off that game? We heard a lot of comments out of the locker room and
Sure.
kind of big things, big themes. But how did the team come together in that week to get things back on track?
Yeah, that's a good question. It was tough, right? Like, first of all, that game was on all facets, all three phases, not what you're looking for in a football game, and we all knew it. And coming to that locker room, it's very spirited and not a detrimental way, but what you saw was how much this game means to guys and how much it was all good things. You saw the passion, right? But then it was how do we apply that to fixing mistakes and stuff? Because we work hard as a football team. I mean, I've been around some football teams, and this one, throughout the week works as just as hard as anyone. So it's applying that work and then making Sunday a celebration of that work rather than shooting yourself in the foot. So I think it's kind of like a weird mid-season, not training camp in regards to workload, but some teams go away for training camp and you have this weird renaissance as a team in regards to you're in tight quarters, you're forced to hang, there's no place to escape, right? So if there's any time for that to happen, I think it was the best time to do it. And it was difficult because we didn't like the results, but of the week prior. But I thought we came out and just had a great week of practice, really loved up on each other, and then we came out with energy. I think that was the biggest thing was we found a little bit of energy that now we have to make it a snowball effect, right? Like we know what works, and we know now we just have to apply it weekly, and it's easier said than done. So we'll have to figure that out.
And then one more from me. When it was 10-0 in the game against the Patriots, I mean, in the past we've seen, okay, this could be a problem. Things kind of slip down the slope. Why didn't that happen this time?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. You can't get 10 points back all at once. So we just focused on, and this is going to be cliche as hell, right? Like you just focused on like, all right, what can this play dictate? Oh, that was a great play. Let's let that snowball. Now we have good field position. Let's end up with 3 points. Now we're close to the goal line. Let's end up with 7 or whatnot. Like just stuff like that. So staying ahead of the chains helped. And then when we got some points on the board, and then the defense had a few big stops, and then we had that. It was just the team was feeding each other. There was energy on the sidelines. Like it felt good. It felt like a winning football team should feel like everyone. And not to say it wasn't there before, but it was just exacerbated, and I thought that was really cool.
Last
Mitch,
one, Mark Long.
yeah, Mitch, do you feel like this could be you guys' offensive identity moving forward? Just this smash mouth, run first, play action, deep ball to Brian Thomas kind of offense?
Yeah, I mean, it's easier. It's you'd like to say that after that game, but every game and dictates a new game plan, right? And sometimes, like I was talking about earlier, in game dictates certain things, right? Like it turned into staying ahead of the chains through running the ball. That's just what happened, and then taking shots. And that's a great question. I don't totally know. We'll find out. It'd be easier to tell you in January and February how this is going to play out. But we're just trying to compound the positives from last week, and running the ball was a positive. And teams teams find a way to eliminate things, so we'll have to be adaptable.
And then Doug trying to explain maybe the offensive line, the ability to run the ball, maybe the little cohesion there. He said the continuity was a big thing, but then he said we've scaled back on the amount of run scheme. Can you just maybe break that down for us, for those of us who have not played offensive line for 10 years in this league? Like, what does that mean to scale back the amount of scheme? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. You go into a work week like this week, and we're going to have a certain amount of runs in the game plan. And those runs each have a personnel package, right? Like it's going to be a big personnel or a little personnel. And then what can you expect from those personnels? Like we expect this personnel package to bring out base defense or this to bring out nickel, like just off of tendencies from the defense. The Patriots are a very multiple defensive front. That's what they've done for years, and they're very good at it. So for us, it was for that game plan, let's just try to have a little bit fewer. It wasn't like a crazy scale back, but it was a scale back, and then go through every single situation that might come about. And so that when we get to that play call, we know that we've seen and repped and throughout the week, as many as we can assume are going to come out like in that defensive front. So it just gives you more of an opportunity to go through more scenarios from less runs. You know what I mean? That's hard to explain. Hopefully that was, well, I'll bounce around.